Hey guys, and welcome back to Bad Luck Garage. Today I've got another eBay product review for you guys. Now, when I was doing my turbo build, I was researching, different additional things I might want to get for the build. One of the things that I was researching was a turbo blanket. While researching, I came across a ton of write-ups and videos on turbo blankets. Most of the videos that I saw were actually from turbo blanket manufacturers, and I just really wasn't satisfied with what I was seeing. Main reason I was not satisfied with what I was seeing is because they were conducting tests that were completely unrealistic just to try to push their overpriced products. The ones that really cracked me up were the tests where they were actually setting fire to the turbo blankets. And they weren't doing this by heat. They were doing this with an actual open flame, such as torches, things like that. I don't know many people who get under their hood with a torch and try to light stuff on fire. And the fact of the matter is, if this thing is exposed to a flame, I'm talking a straight up flame like you would see from a torch, you've got some serious issues that a turbo blanket probably is not going to solve for you. What I wanted to do is I just wanted to purchase a cheap turbo blanket off eBay, and I just wanted to run basically one test, the only test that matters, and that is this thing holding the heat in? So that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. We're going to open this turbo blanket that I got from eBay. I believe it was $24.99. It might have been $25.99, and we're just going to see how much heat this thing holds in.
So we'll just get started by opening this up here. Now again, I only paid $25 for this, so I'm not actually sure what to expect. I also don't really have anything to compare it with because I've never had a turbo blanket before. So we'll just check it out and look at, initially how it's put together, how, if it feels like quality or a minute. Okay, this is a lot. Yeah, this is a lot nicer than I was expecting. I mean, it's really thick. Like, this seems to be insulated really well. Yeah, this is really thick, guys. Also, I've noticed it's got the full round buckles on here instead of the cheap little horseshoe shaped brackets. I don't know if you guys can see this. I mean, that's a pretty nice looking piece there. See that right there? And then there's our springs. You put it over your turbine housing and use these springs between here and here and here and here to hold it on there. That's what it looks like installed. Yeah, I really like that. I wish I wouldn't have already gotten oil on it, but you know what? It's going to be on a running engine, so it's going to get oil on it eventually. Now, if you compare that with our eBay fake titanium header wrap that we got, it's actually a pretty good match, pretty close. But let's see how it performs.
Now that we've got the unboxing out of the way, I'm just going to kind of go over what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be measuring the temperature here on the turbine housing, and I'm going to be measuring the temperature here. That's pretty much it, guys. I would love to measure under hood temps, but I don't really have any way to do that. But basically what we're going to do, I'm going to drive the truck. We're going to get it good and warmed up at operating temperature. I'll make a couple semi-hard pulls in it. We'll come home. We will measure the heat on our turbine housing. We will measure the heat on our compressor housing. Then we're going to install the turbo blanket, and we're going to go drive it again, make some more hard pulls, and we're going to come back and measure the heat on the outside of the turbo blanket to see just how much difference there is between the outside of it and what's underneath it. A lot of you might be thinking, well, isn't that kind of oversimplified? Yeah, that's kind of the point. All a turbo blanket is designed to do is to hold in heat, you know, to keep heat from out of your engine bay, just keep it in the exhaust. So, you know, to test it by trying to set it on fire or something like, I mean, that's just, it's pointless, guys. So let's take this thing for a drive and get our baseline temperature measurements. All right, guys, so before we do this test, we have one problem. I don't have a temperature gauge. So John's actually on his way over right now. He's got one he's going to loan me.
So a little birdie swung by and told me that you were doing some blanket testing on this thing.
Yeah,
Also,
it was cold,
He
man.
also told me he needed one of these.
You damn right.
Here you go, man.
Okay, so we took her down the road and we're going to take a couple heat measurements. Our air filter is showing 130 degrees. Our compressor housing showing 138. Center section, 350 something. And our turbine housing. Wow. Is that right? 750 degrees. That seems like a lot of heat. The engine covers are showing 200 and something degrees. What's our intercooler showing? Intercooler is showing about 50 to 60 degrees. On the fins there, showing about 76 degrees, which, I mean, that makes sense. It's about 50 degrees outside right now. About on this side of the intercooler. About 58 degrees. Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense because this side of the intercooler where the air is coming in from the turbo is 80 degrees. The side of the intercooler over here where the air is about to go out is 62 degrees. So I guess that can kind of go to show you the efficiency of the intercooler. It's dropped at 20 degrees from one side to the other. That's pretty good, I guess. Let's install the turbo blanket and go from there. Okay, guys, we are back from our second drive. Let's see what we got. We are going to start with our turbo blanket. And our turbo blanket is showing 176 degrees. Okay, guys, that was 800 degrees directly on the turbine housing, but the outside of the turbo blanket is only showing around 170. That is freaking awesome. And just for a comparison, our center section, 300 and something degrees. I'll have to look at the video, but I believe that's about what it was the first time we checked it. Compressor housing, 133. Air filter, 109. That's interesting. Even though we didn't give it time to cool down, let's look at our engine covers. Wow. Look at that. Engine covers around 170-ish, something like that. Guys, like you saw in the video, this actually did some pretty cool stuff. I want to kind of go over the numbers and you know what they might mean and why they're significant. Measurements at several different places. The most important place, obviously, that we took a measurement was the turbine housing.
Yep. Well, the turbo housing, it says without that blanket on there, or without that cover, it was running at 750 degrees.
Yep.
That is substantial.
That's actually, I thought it was kind of hefty myself, but after Googling it, that is a pretty average temperature for a turbine housing.
And with the cover on it, we're looking at 176 degrees.
Huge
That is
drop.
a huge drop. I mean, on the air filter side of it,
And this is something I really want to go into detail about, guys.
is the air filter.
Yeah.
130 degrees on an air charge temp. That's extremely high.
Yep. That's 130 degrees, and that is, you know, that's just at the air filter, guys. That's before the air is even compressed. What's amazing about this is just by shielding the engine bay from the heat from the compressor housing, we dropped the temperature on the air filter down to
109 degrees.
right.
That's amazing.
That's
Which-
that's like a 21 degree drop in the air that is coming into the turbo.
Because on the compressor housing, we're showing the pre-blanket temperature of 138 degrees versus after he put the blanket on and checked it and drove it at 133. So only a 5-degree
Yeah,
change
it really
there.
really didn't affect that much. Same thing with the center section. It was 345 degrees before.
It came down to 330.
Yeah, really didn't make a whole lot of difference there. But here's something else that's really cool, guys, and this is a testament to the radiant heat that this thing's helping us with in the engine bay itself, and that's the engine covers.
Yeah, the engine covers that he put on top of this thing we're showing a temperature of a 240 degrees. That was prior to putting the blanket on. Afterward, it dropped it down to 175 degrees. So just putting a turbo blanket on this lowered the radiant temperatures inside the engine compartment dramatically. And that is some amazing data right there.
That's huge. Okay, guys, bottom line here is, you don't have to spend $200-300 on a top of the line turbo blanket. Like I said in the beginning of the video, guys, a lot of the tests that I saw on the different YouTube channels where they're setting these things on fire, they're doing all kinds of crazy things like that. They're really not real world tests. This right here tells you everything you need to know, and what you need to know is this thing works. I mean, it blocks the heat from the turbine housing. It lowers the under hood temperature. Even though the air filter temperature doesn't really matter much because it's before the air is compressed, I mean, 21 degrees there. The engine covers, those tell the story of the under hood heat. I didn't really think about it. What I really wish I would have done is took the temperature of the hood directly above the turbocharger.
Now that's been clearly documented on some other sites I've seen, where someone has, prior to putting a turbo blanket on, they were commenting on the fact that their paint job was in bad shape.
Right.
And where they turned out, it was actually cooking the paint off the hood.
Right. But what I wanted to see was the effects of an eBay turbo blanket.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm just trying to compare, because like I think I seen the same video, and that guy was using like a DEI or something. It's like a $200 turbo blanket.
Oh, wow.
This thing's $25, guys, and I'm gonna say I think it's well worth it. Anyway, guys, that's been our eBay turbo blanket test. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Also, be sure to check out our other videos on the Turbo C10 project here. We've actually documented everything that we've done to this thing. It was a budget build the whole way, and there'll be a link to that in the top left corner of your screen at the end. So anyway, stop watching this video, get out in the garage and start wrenching, and we'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.